Wendy Beauchamp was a very powerful witch who was the daughter of a king known as Nikolaus. She was a bright witch with a brilliant sense of humor, and it is said that she has resurrected many times because of the curse she was given 600 years ago. We first saw her when she visited her nieces Ingrid and Freya to warn them of a great and impending danger coming their way. She was from New Orleans and was one of the greatest witches in the series. Freya, as we stated before, was the niece to Wendy and a very powerful witch. She lived in East End where she worked as a bartender, and was a warm and caring young woman who was always very positive to life, and was always willing to help anyone in need. She only used her powers to help others, and was also an emotional person who was unafraid to make her feelings known. In addition to all of that, she never liked lying, and would feel extremely guilty if she did. She was a very loving person who tried her best to make her relationships work throughout the show. Now to a warlock known as Gardiner, who was one of the main characters of the show. According to women in the show, he was extremely attractive with his courageous look and his insane aura. He was in an on and off relationship with Freya for a while, and was a bad boy for most of his existence. Always getting kicked out of school and causing mayhem, Killian had never even been in a real relationship with a woman. Ingrid Beauchamp was another niece of Wendy and the older sister of Freya. She was working as a librarian for East End Public Library, and was the most cautious and thoughtful in her entire family. She was so interested in witchcraft, and that was why she spent her time working in the library and acquiring all the information she needed to know. Joanna was a powerful witch who was the sister to Wendy and the mother to Ingrid and Freya. She was born in the realm of Asgard, where she grew up as an immortal witch. Just like her sister, she was over 600 years old, and in her entire lifespan, she collected many enemies who were always after her and her family. She was so mature and motherly, and was seen to always warn her daughters on the dangers of using magic. Very protective of her girls, Joanna would do anything to protect them, even if it meant endangering herself in the process. Gardiner was a powerful warlock and the older brother of Killian. When he was only a baby, his mother stole his powers to make herself stronger, but when she passed, his powers were restored. He was engaged to Freya, with whom they bore one child. He was a very motivated man who was very focused with his goals, and was a very loyal man both to his family and his girlfriend. He worked at the East End Hospital as a doctor, and was considered a wise man, often being called in conference room as a speaker. Penelope Gardiner, who was also known as Athena, was the main antagonist of the show, and was the biological mother of Dash and Killian. She was a rich socialite who was very beautiful and sophisticated, and was also nice and motherly to his boys. But as the antagonist, she was mostly a ruthless and evil witch who was very cold and cunning to her ops. She was born in the 1900s and was armed with abilities like casting dark spells, making dangerous potions telekinesis. She had the ability to heal atmokinesis, and was also an immortal being. Adam Noble was another character in the show who was a police detective. He was a charming and charismatic fella who was deeply in love with Ingrid Beauchamp. He was a caring boyfriend who was nice and very trustworthy to all. Frederick Beauchamp was another powerful warlock and the son of Joanna. He was a mysterious guy that was so secretive with his life, and was very caring to his family. Just like his mother, he was also born in Asgard and raised by both his mother and daddy. Unlike the other Beauchamps, Frederick was still in touch with his grandfather, whose goal was to destroy everyone that betrayed him. We saw that, at the end of the film, his life was taken by someone who we were later told that he was a witch hunter. Another character was Leo Wingate, who was a professor of entomology and lived in an apartment in East End. He was a sweet and shy guy who got laid by Wendy, and was a weird man with a huge love for insects. He owned a Himalayan stamped crown, which was an extremely rare butterfly known for its magical properties, and the reason Wendy agreed to get laid was to steal this rare commodity. Eva Calero Gardiner was a Dominican witch who only appeared in 8 episodes of season 2. She was an exotic woman who was very mysterious and attractive, but she was not just an ordinary witch. She was alive for almost 1,000 years and depended on some dark magic to stay young and radiant. All women wanted to be her, and all men wanted to be with her. Caroline was the girlfriend of Frederick and was a professor who taught environmental science. Ivar Zerka was a warlock and a minor antagonist who was a member of the Zerka clan. He was banished from Asgard for his outrageous behaviors and his troublemaking schemes. He spent all his time and effort looking for a portal back to his home, and it was said that he had been roaming Earth for thousands of years. He had powerful abilities like telekinesis, molecular immobilization, potion making, and the ability to control the weather.
I don't ever want to see you again.